You're being distant.
Got a lot on my mind.
If you don't want to be married, that's fine. I will be fine. The kids will be fine. You've always been a great father, and I would never take that from them.
I do want to be married, but we're just in a slump emotionally.
This is marriage, WTF.
Warning, we are not licensed professionals. However, we are experts on saving our marriage. Viewer discretion is advised.
So, whenever I would feel distress in our relationship, it was like clockwork. I would retreat into something. And it took many forms. Sometimes it was binging on Netflix. Sometimes it was playing video games till the wee hours in the morning. One thing that was consistent with all of those things is that I was drinking a lot of alcohol. And that was the one thing that I probably didn't realize how much I was drinking, but you
I
probably
did.
noticed. You know, I didn't want to face the distance growing between us. I knew most of it was my fault, but it was just one of those things that I would typically run from and just didn't talk about.
I was at a loss. I needed answers. So I was Googling everything I could think of to try to understand what was happening and how to fix it. If I could diagnose it, I could treat it. That's how I was feeling anyway. Together, we came up with a list of 9 tips for dealing with a spouse or significant other who seems distant.
So we're going to do our version of the Casey Kasem countdown with our 9 tips. So number 9, respect your differences.
Correct. Do not debate opinions. The opposite of an opinion is a fact. A fact is either right or wrong. It's black or it's white. An opinion is neither right nor wrong.
It is a love based on giving and receiving, as well as having and sharing. And the love that they give and have is shared and received.
It's not black, nor is it white. So it's a worthless point to argue. Therefore, to argue an opinion is a huge waste of your time and energy. Would you agree?
Yeah, I would.
You better, because that's a fact. For example, it's my opinion that the NBA playoffs are the highest grossing reality TV show on any network, full of drama rivaling that of the Kardashians. And every time I make this statement, all of the men in my house totally freak out. They understand, however, this is my opinion, and in turn, I now keep it to myself.
That's so true. But it's hard to respect someone's differences if you don't know where their opinion was formed. And if you do have a difference of opinion, it's healthy to be able to see the situation from another perspective.
Mm-hmm.
So number 8, don't take it personally.
This can be complicated, but you may need to give him or her some space. And I know how that sounds, especially if he's already being distant. Every fiber of my being wanted to know why he was being distant, and I wanted an answer yesterday. That being said, you have to keep in mind that your approach may determine if he's going to open up to you or not. There were many times when I said, I feel like you are distant, or I feel like we are disconnected. Is there anything that you want to talk about?
And I would probably normally say nothing.
Yeah, you say, no, it's good. I don't know what you're talking about. You just
Pushing it down,
Yep.
pushing it down.
I knew there was something going on with him, though. On the surface, it seemed like it was our marriage, but I felt like there was something deeper. When he told me he needed to see a male counselor after the whole I'm going to go see a female counselor last summer debacle, I knew he needed me to listen without judgment. I knew that he had to get some stuff off his chest.
So I never wanted to blame my actions on, quote, this is how I was raised. But in reality, how you deal with everything is based on how you were raised. And there was a lot of sadness, there was a lot of hurt, but I didn't know what they were though. I mean, until, Brandon kind of dug them up. But I was afraid to say what I was truly thinking for hurting your feelings. I was afraid of facing the guilt and shame that I held inside. And there was a lot of it. It was dark. I felt like a failure on so many levels. So the distance was magnified due to the fact that I was piling more stuff on top of some of the issues I already had. And, that too was just creating a bigger and bigger gap between her and I.
And number 7, call off the pursuit. Do not force him or her into conversation. I kind of step back and just let him know I'm here for you in whatever capacity you need. If there was, was there anything that I could have said or done better to get you to open up? Like, I thought I was doing a good job at the time by saying, like, I feel, using those instead of the, you're being distant.
No, because one thing I don't want to portray is like the stuff we went through wasn't bad, because like if you see us now, like we're at a completely different place than we've ever been when it comes to our communication and stuff. But I was always defensive too. So whenever you would ask a question, I would get defensive. And so
when I would say, I feel like you're getting a little defensive. Oh, and then you just get defensive about being defensive.
Right.
I couldn't win.
Right. So where we're at now is completely different than where we've ever been. Probably maybe that first year of being together, our that engagement year. But
everyone's first 2 years are pretty easy.
Yeah.
In any relationship. Whenever you start up a relationship, the first 2 years, it's pretty smooth sailing.
Yeah. So in that, calling off the pursuit, it was. I was running anyway. So it didn't matter if she called off the pursuit or not. I was still trying to run and hide from anything that would make me deal with what was inside. So I don't think you did anything that really kind of pushed me. It was just the fact that I was very defensive because I didn't want to address what was going on. With that being said, I needed to stop, look, and listen. I needed to stop and understand that I needed professional help. I needed that help to get to the root of what my issues were. I needed to look, and I had to look deep inside myself to understand what was in my past, what was almost debilitating me in my present, and honestly was destroying my future. And then lastly, I needed to listen. I needed to listen to you. I needed to listen to my counselor. I definitely would hear what you were saying, but I needed to listen in order to put our marriage on the road to recovery. And like I said, our communication now is better than it's ever been. It's an open book.
Number 6, lower your intensity. And this is difficult. I get it. Once again, fiber of my being really wanted to slap him upside the head and yell profanities. But I made sure to stay calm. I was hurt, I was frustrated, I was sad. And while I was certainly entitled to those feelings, there is a way to express them so that he would feel more open to sharing his feelings versus making him feel like backed into a corner or accused. Trust me, I wanted him to feel the same pain that I was in. Yeah. But this didn't open up, and it wasn't going to open up any lines of communication, which is what I really needed. When someone feels cornered, it's natural for the fight or flight response to kick in. Yeah, he was a runner. We do not want our spouse to fight or to flight. Super counterproductive.
Flight was my go-to. Unless you're in it, you don't know how powerless you can become to the truth. The shame of how bad I had hurt Michelle was something that I didn't want to continue to revisit, because I keep telling her, like, it pains me to see when she's sad, to see when she cries, especially because I know I caused that hurt. So that's a tough one. It still is a tough one when you get upset, but even though I know it was in her right to want to make me feel as bad as I made her feel, I still didn't want to discuss any of it. It took a while to even, like, now, even though we can do it a little bit more now, like, still, like, we had this great line of communication, but when something would pop up, it was kind of like...
Yeah, I could feel you, like, I could feel your, like, wall going up.
Right, pulling away, or maybe trying to change the subject, but, the look of sadness, disgust, and disappointment were enough to make me want to run as fast as I can. But in the end, those same feelings, those same looks were the thing that made me want to change and be a better man, because I knew I wanted to be with her because I love her so much. So it was that part that really made me say, listen, you got to get your stuff together and be the man that she married. So, number 5, give him or her their space.
Sometimes you just need to bite your tongue and respect his wishes if he needs the space. That's definitely not how I roll. I wanted to talk it out right now, but he might not be ready for that. But if he needs some space, you've got to give him what they're asking for. Never ever go to name calling. Nothing positive has ever come from calling someone you love a name out of anger. It can't be taken back, and the only thing that will be accomplished are hurt feelings. And also, we did never call each other names. Just
Yeah. Yeah, we never did that.
full disclosure.
Yeah, we didn't. We stayed away from that. Space in terms of reestablishing trust and getting to the root of your internal issues is not the best thing for the situation. So I needed the walls to close in on me. Our counselor definitely made me a bit claustrophobic, comfortably uncomfortable. But when it came to dealing with how my actions had hurt Michelle and our marriage, it was necessary to do. I had to figure it out. I mean, there was some nudging and pushing, but it was definitely, I had to get there myself, I guess, in a way. But going to Brandon kind of pushed me there, and then once you joined in on the counseling sessions, it was very impactful. It was very revealing, and so. But yeah, the space you gave me was what I needed to get to where I needed to go to get to where I am now.
Number 4, make a date. Spend some quality time together and be in a safe space where you can talk. Using the I feel has a better chance of opening up lines of communication versus using the you are statements. When you use the you statements, they can be interpreted as being accusing or placing blame.
So, number 3, pursue your goals.
Work on your personal development. There were no guarantees that this relationship was going to work out. I'm the only one responsible for my happiness. I needed to get me back. And I began with books and online personal development.
And I knew and I wanted and I needed to work on myself. Our development paths have been a little bit different, but in that we've definitely shared a lot of information that has benefited the both of us. There are some books that resonated with you more than they did with me, like You Are a Badass, which kind of didn't, yeah, that one kind of didn't vibe with me. But we also found little nuggets in our readings and listenings that inspired both of us. We both knew that we had changed over the years. The hard part was identifying, how we're going to move forward in each other's lives, pretty much. And were we going to be happy? Was it going to be in a way that was going to not only revitalize our relationship, but just create a connection that we had so long been missing?
Number 2, act kindly. So praise your spouse. Do not criticize. Kindness is the most important quality a person can have to maintain a loving and healthy marriage. That actually came right from the Gottman Institute, which they did. John Gottman did some phenomenal research on love and marriage. It wasn't just about me. Our kids, they were innocent in all this. Kids can be torn apart by divorce. I'm a child of divorce, and I grew up witnessing many dysfunctional relationships. So honestly, my kids became my main priority very quickly. I told Kenyon that many times, whatever happened between us, he's always been an amazing father, and I would never take that away from him. I would never take that away from the kids. Treating Kenyon with kindness not only benefited him in his therapy, but it ensured our children were not exposed to any tension in their home.
And I definitely appreciated your candor with the kids, and I'd be lying if I didn't say that I didn't have visions of our marriage ending. I did. Just one of the toughest things was how we were going to tell the kids. if we went that way. We knew the kids were walking on eggshells for sure. They knew. I mean, our kids are old enough to feel the tension, and we had to have the talk with the kids, and it was tough for me because I still had that notion of, you know, wanting to be the best dad I could, and I didn't want them to be disappointed in me. But they had to understand where Michelle and I had been. They had to understand how we were going to change it, and that we were going to fight for our marriage. And probably one of the toughest talks I've ever had to have was being that open and honest with the kids as I was going through my development.
Number one, love unconditionally. And that sounds like a load of BS. I get it. So let me explain. Choose to treat your spouse with love until you know what's going on with them. One definition I found describes unconditional love as caring about the happiness of another person without any concern of how it benefits you. I made a conscious choice every day that I was going to love him through this no matter the outcome of our marriage.
Damn, real?
Yeah. I had to make a conscious choice every day. Let me tell you.
I thought I was just lovable.
No. Okay.
Which brings us to our Marriage WTF challenge. Every day, we would like you to tell at least one person that's close to you what you sincerely appreciate about him or her. Comment below with hashtag #AppreciationNation and share with us the details.
And remember, we are here because our marriage is worth the fight.
Our family is worth the fight.
And so is yours.
So remember, subscribe, like, and comment below and share this video.
And we will see you on the next Marriage WTF.